Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? Guys, I've come to the conclusion that this show is just weird. um, I I honestly was expecting a lot. Excuse me. I was expecting a whole bunch of stuff to pop off, but for some odd reason, it really just left me in a position where I was just watching another episode of this show and expecting what it always brings to the table, which is just lunacy and craziness. And of course, that was in this week's episode. What do you think? With the Blue Knight pretty much being concluded at this point, and really just being an event that honestly made no sense when it was first explained to me through the episode, but now with the understanding of the past and them pretty much incorporating the backstory of how probably the two most dopest characters in the show right now met each other and just what type of tides they have. Not only that, they really went into the fact of devils and what the heck you gotta even do to become one, which is like the most oddest things. It's like oddball jobs that you have to do, not to mention your final test where you just can't use magic for a whole entire year. And depending on what type of magic person you are, I would guess things would be much rougher for certain people over most, and our girl being one of them, Noelle being one. Um, this, I said Noelle. Uh, her having this problem in the case of just needing to heal, right? Like her abilities just aren't catered to fighting. We see this as soon as they're about to meet each other in the most best fashion suited for them. I mean, I kind of didn't expect them to meet any other way besides some type of conflict, right? Which I'm glad I was right that that turned out. But after seeing their conflict and how it all played out, it honestly still shocks me that she had any type of respect for him after what he did right at the beginning of their match, or not even match, their really one-sided meetup, where after saying let's have a magic battle, she straight up sees how destroyed and rotten this man's arms and legs, or she could probably smell his legs and doesn't know it, but his arms are completely like rotten and just decaying. You can see them just looking black and blue, like they've been just beaten and blistered. But we know exactly why that is the case. The only reason why he can even have his limbs on at that point is because of his magic, and the only reason why he looks normal or his limbs came back to normal was thanks to Old Girl. So they're an interesting pair, and with the Blue Knight being something where um, sorcerers kind of have it nice here, because clearly these two who have been hunting them down in the Blue Knight have already died, clearly, right? Like they have straight up been destroyed, and somehow they come back. And it seems like this has already been it's already an occurring thing, but for them to show up at this time, it only made me wonder, how are they still coming back, right? Like how are they capable of doing this? And then I thought about at the very beginning of the show when someone passed away for the sorcerers, they pretty much just had them hatched, like reborn, which just goes to show you how much people might actually just care to be helpful in this like weird way that's not really helpful. I mean, sure, if you get resurrected, you probably have to pay some type of debt or some type of Bill, I mean, not only will you get resurrected, but there's people out there that seemingly if they heal you, it might have the reverse effects on you. So there's also that to look out for Mr. Crosses on his eyes. Got it pretty dirty this week with the overall getting hit by the black smoke that pretty like say he opens up a door and gets hit by black smoke that's supposed to heal, and it just destroyed him. It returned him to what he was supposed to be, which was a puppet, which made a lot of sense. But then all of a sudden he showed back up with that mask on, which maybe it's just someone else with the cross eyes. I'm not sure, but it seemed pretty intent that it's him, the guy that was already there, and has reason to be there. We were already like following him around. It wouldn't make sense that it just transfers to a person. I can't say it wouldn't make sense because this whole show does things that probably wouldn't make sense to the average viewers. So yeah, sense isn't really anything in this meaning when they're talking about this show. So with that being said, the biggest and weirdest thing about, well, back to the Blue Knight, having them just fighting for their life was actually pretty hype to watch. But the part that got me was they were just trying to knock them out. They were just trying to have them unconscious so they would sign the contract. And the things they were doing to quote unquote knock them unconscious was pretty dirty, man. Shooting cannons with like black smoke that just explode right in people's faces while they're not expecting it. Um, all the way to setting up a ridiculous amount of needles with drugs to put someone to sleep, and a chandelier so it falls on them and just absolutely stabs the crap out of them. I mean, I've seen the Saw movie where the girl had to put her hand in a place with a bunch of needles where, and I wouldn't have been able to do that. So to then go ahead and say, okay, you're gonna stand under this chandelier with a bunch of a bunch of syringes above it or attached to it, and it's gonna fall on you. Nah, bro. I just kill me. Just shoot me and get it over with. Um, but yeah, he straight up sniping with syringes, which was the funny thing about it. Just knowing that someone has a way to load and shoot syringes from that far, kind of like a tranquilizer gun, but just a sniper rifle. Oh, actually, I have seen one in the Riddick movie where it took like elephant tranquilizers to take them down, but that was pretty ridiculous to me. This show overall has me in a good mindset to understand just where it's probably going to go, and that's anywhere it wants to. But its focus is now getting more and more narrow instead of just having it kind of be all over the place. We're definitely um, have a good understanding of devils just are the higher ups. Like devils, being a devil, you can't even practically be, you can't be seen or something along those lines. We saw a devil pretty much pop up at a scene, like a crime scene, and disappear almost within matter of seconds or minutes. And maybe that's just because you have some kind of connection with it. It allows you to see it or it allows to be seen. Um, so yeah, that's another interesting story in itself because the reason why I say that as well is Shin was just like, oh, when she becomes a devil, I probably won't be able to see her anymore. We straight up saw her growing a tail and horns. So this black smoke either is a very, very underrated, not underrated, but unvisited potential that humans just, or like non-sorcerers don't know much about. I mean, any non-sorcerer that knows something about a devil probably is the most intelligent person about the sorcerers in this case, because just the way that the devils were brought up, or the way that they're setting them up, they sound ridiculous. So you got to remember as well that the people that this devil wanted to ask, the one person he's in contact with, who's a sorcerer, who's one of the characters we follow, why she would do these things, for this other person, and for what reason, do you think is it gonna work out and stuff like that. And she really just gave us the answer of he's precious to her, he's dear. And to know that he then, this dear character then leaves her behind because he doesn't want her getting in any trouble, really just showcases another bond of the show of partners that just keeps getting revisited thanks to the Blue Knight, and just how much partnership we've seen throughout the whole entire series from start to finish, which I didn't actually mind. The references of just how much partner stuff we've already really seen, but to be fair, this show is good in my weird opinion. um, the whole point of shows is not only to keep the audience entertained, but to keep things fresh, keep the juices flowing. This is a show that pretty much does that without caring or really needing to explain anything. It just does it. The stuff that is getting explained, take it with a grain of salt, because it's probably going to get explained further. Like, like our guy talking about his shop that clearly has gone out of business, but he's still telling us things, trivial things about it, like, oh, I made music, a theme song for that same place, and it actually sold really well. Like, very, very small details that they just really wanted to throw in there, and it gives it that much more of a realistic feeling when you have these characters who kind of get offended when you say certain things about them, or certain things about their crafts. So it's funny to see these types of characteristics in such a weird characterized show, but regardless of it, I am all for it. I think it's doing stuff that I haven't got to watch and seen for a while, and then to top it all off, it has a manga that I'm probably going to get into relatively whenever this show kind of just goes on high, like disappears, or and we don't hear about another season or something like that. There's always those cases that can happen with anime. So Hunter x Hunter, One Punch Man, and shows that have that type of stuff happening. Sometimes you just want to take a plunge onto the dark side, the manga side. But anyway, with all that being said, everybody, I hope you have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I definitely will talk to you sooner than later. So, with that being said, take care and peace. Gerald, please. He's just swinging, sir. Oh no, we ain't going out on no L. Or I'm going to take the big L. So let's get it. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, he did. Let's get it. Oh man, I want to land that so bad. Bay. Nope. No, this is my round. Nope, I messed up. I got him. Didn't mess up. All part of the plan. Shut up. Baka.